Hi, June Millett here. Today I had the great fortune of being able to do a lot of training with Chris Record. I've been listening to a program on the internet through a company I work with. It's called the 15K Formula, in case that's a tip-off to anybody. And what I was learning, I was learning a lot of things about blogging and spreading the word out on social media and so forth. But one thing that I really keyed into, as I was feeling like I feel I'm saturated, I need to take a break, Chris was saying the secret of the masters is that they, as they're learning, they turn around and teach it or share it. And when I first heard this concept, it was from Bob Proctor, and it was while I was taking the course, The Science of Getting Rich. It was probably about 14 years ago. And it was a great idea, but at that time, before you could make videos like this, or before blogging, before the internet was really very popular in terms of how you could interact with it, that was a challenge. Who were you going to talk to? You'd come back from an event, and most of the people in your life were not related to the work that you'd just been doing. Family members didn't necessarily want you calling up and telling them about it. Friends probably weren't connected to it. So it was an interesting kind of dilemma to think about, well, how to do that. Of course, writing was one way to do it, but then where would it go? So, but now it is so much easier to spread the word, basically, to teach while you're, while you're learning. And that was something that I thought, yeah, that's what this is about for me. The blogging, the videoing. This is all about taking experiences from my life and combining with it or them with what I am learning right now. And there's a magic that occurs when you do that. It reminds me of an experience I had many years ago when my daughter was just a little infant, little girl, and I was nursing her beyond what people thought, like is normal or acceptable at that time. I mean, it was longer than 6 months and a year. And I was called up for jury duty. And I thought, oh, how am I going to get out of this? Because she was still a pretty avid nurser. So what I did was, in the process of calling and writing letters to the jury commissioner and all, and they were pretty rude. So I did also talk with other people who were nursing moms, like in La Leche League and all, and got some really good advice. And I began to see and appreciate that I was an expert in what my daughter needed. And it wasn't really anybody else's business to decide what was appropriate and what wasn't. So what eventually happened was that I did go to the court that day that I was called in for jury duty. And I brought my file with my letter in it to the judge, and he looked at it, and I also had my daughter with me. And he smiled, and he said, "You're dismissed." And so, and he said, "You won't be called for a while." Well, a while turned out to be many, many years. So I always got kind of a kick out of that. But what I learned from that was that you have to appreciate yourself as knowing something to share with people, knowing that from your own experience, you're an expert in that part of your life. And that was very empowering for me as a young mom, and also was very important because I realized that if I had caved into it because it was a quote, an authority figure, I probably would have looked at it and regretted it for the rest of my life. So remember that as you're learning things, to go out and share it. And you have a lot of different ways now that you can do that. And remember that you are an expert about the things you've learned in your life, whether they're things that succeeded or not, but from it, you've learned things that people can learn from. Have a great day.